networking is super important. Sometimes people are like, well, why do I need to go here? Or, why I'm on this red carpet or I'm there. And it's like, because you never know who's in the room.
Welcome to Leaf Notes, the podcast that helps your business take root and grow. I'm Adria Marshall, seasoned business owner and speaker.
And I'm Sydney Mafuka, artist, illustrator, and small business owner.
Join us each week as we take you on a journey through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. We'll dive into everything from social media strategy to protecting your business.
We'll even answer your burning questions such as, do I need a business plan? Should I form an LLC? Where should I promote my business? And so much more.
Together with our guests, we'll break down these topics into actionable steps, helping you build the business of your dreams.
So whether you're just starting or you're looking to scale, we got you covered.
So go grab your notebooks, your favorite beverage, and cozy up to receive practical insights and inspiration here on Leaf Notes. Let's go make your business dreams a reality. Good morning, Sydney.
Good morning, Mom.
Good morning, Adrienne.
Oh, that was so cute. I was like, good morning like that.
We are
Good
so
morning.
happy. Yay. We're so happy to have you on. Everybody, Adrienne is my publicist and my friend, so I'm so happy to introduce her to you guys. We're about to have so much fun. I have so many questions that I want to ask. I'm sure Sydney has some too. So the first thing I want to ask you, just jump right in. Well, I guess we should let you tell a little bit about yourself first, but I got questions already. So why don't you just share a little bit about yourself first?
So yes, I am Adrienne. I am Adria's publicist. It was Kismet, right? Like Adrienne. And I did come to her by way of a referral. So thank you, universe, and thank you. I've been doing PR for about 20 years now. All of my clients tend to live in the entertainment, lifestyle, and wellness and entrepreneurial spaces. So they all kind of touch in some capacity. And what PR is essentially bringing greater attention and awareness to the things that my clients have going on.
And thank you for saying that. And I love working with you so much. And I've experienced different types of PR through my entrepreneurial journey. And it's fascinating, so many fascinating things about the way that you work and the way that you move. I want to get into all of them. So but the first thing that I thought was interesting when I was reading over your intake form is that you actually went to college to study PR, it seems like.
I did. And, it's funny because I'm from Baltimore, Maryland originally. And I kind of landed in healthcare. And thought, like for people, most people have heard of Johns Hopkins in some space, right? Yeah. So it's like I was at Johns Hopkins, I was working in healthcare, and I just knew that was going to be my lane, right? My degree initially was public health administration. And because I had worked in healthcare for so long, that was just what felt comfortable. However, I also write. I have a passion for writing, which is a core of PR. But I started out doing interviews. So I was interviewing with our local newspaper, a magazine that we had in Baltimore. But there was always a relationship and a connection that happened after the fact, right? And so it was like, this is dope. I like this. What can I do to stay in this space but not be the space? Like, I don't know if I necessarily need to be the talent, but I like being around the talent. Like, I like being in that space. And so The Wire was super popular back then. That's how long ago this has been. And so one of my clients was one of the minors that was on the show. And I asked his mom if he had a publicist. She was like, no. And so I was like, well, let me do it. I'll do it for free, like just to see how it feels. And that was how it started. And so once I started feeling like this is the thing, then I changed my major. And at that time, it was really communications, right? Because when I started doing PR, it wasn't the it thing to do. It wasn't popular. People who had publicists were people who knew what a publicist was, how effective PR is. It was mostly entertainment, or it was corporate 500, people who had PR teams in-house. And so it just wasn't as popular as it is now. And so, yes, did my transfer, changed my major, took whatever classes aligned with PR, because again, it wasn't a major at first. Right. But then like a year before I was getting ready to graduate, they gave us a PR track. So I was like, see, look.
Look at God.
And so I actually have my bachelor's degree in public relations.
So what I was curious because I know so little about PR. What do they how can there be a whole what do they teach you?
Communication, anything
Mm,
that aligns with communication. So we have writing classes, we had
mm,
speech writing, we had
okay.
effective communication, conflict resolution, conflict
Conflict
management.
resolution.
We
Mhm.
have how to deal with clients. It was a lot of it is communications at its core. So any coursework that dealt with speaking, communicating, writing, listening, effective
Mhm.
listening, all of those things are what lined up with that track.
And that leads me, Sydney, do you have something to say? Okay, because look, that leads me to the first question that I have for you, because one of the things that impressed me so much about you at our very first event together, that was the TV One event, I think it was.
Yes. Yes.
You are able to pivot and you move on your feet so quick, and you may be flustered on the inside, but it does not show on the outside at all. Have you always been that way?
Yes. I think that I think it's true when they say you're just born with it, right?
Mhm.
And so I have always in high school, it's funny because in high school I was the designated go hit on the guy person, right? Like it was so it's like if anybody had somebody that they wanted to talk to or they were afraid to engage with, or I was the designated go start the conversation. Like Adrienne, you go kick it off, and then I'll come in on the backside. So yeah, that's always been me, and I think however it was or whatever it was supposed to be, it took me a long time to figure out what that was, honestly. So to answer your question, I've always had it and just did not always know how to use it or why I was given that trait, because I just always felt like there was more, right? Even with jobs. My grandmother used to say, I've never seen somebody quit a job today and have another job tomorrow. But that was just me. It was just like I've always felt like I wasn't necessarily created to work for someone. Or
Mhm.
if I did work for someone, I can't deal with like the microaggressions, the micromanagement, and those types of things. And so again, I had to learn how to hone that in, because man, when I was a kid, you got smart with me. I was like, all right, I'm out.
Wow. That's funny. So yeah, it's true, because like either you're born with it or not. I could never do that job. I don't have that type of energy. So it's amazing how we have our gifts and we're put into the right places to let our gifts shine. That's just awesome. Talk to me about the different types of clients that you have. I'm sure you have to work with different personality types in different ways. Talk to us about different types of clients that you have, and like the most challenging situations that you've had from a PR point of view.
The most challenging part of PR is not knowing how PR works, right? And so
Mm,
I've had clients and potential clients who have come into this space only because someone said you need a publicist, or I see what a publicist has done for somebody else and I want you to do that for me, but not really understanding how PR works and not really trusting of the process. So many
mhm,
people associate PR with money or with booking, which is still money,
mhm,
and just like they want that return on investment in a tangible way that they can touch and feel. And when they don't get that right away, then they feel like PR doesn't work, or they feel like it's a scam. They feel like, oh, I'm paying you all of this money and you're
mhm,
not doing anything for me. And so I have had clients who, I've given them their money back, just very
mhm,
transparently. I have said it from the beginning. I'm like, I don't feel like this is what you need.
mhm,
It doesn't listening to your goals don't align with PR. And they're like, oh no, but I do. I want to do this. I want to do it. And I'm like, well, no, I don't think so. I think you might need more marketing or advertising. But because marketing, advertising, and PR work so closely together, it's
mhm,
hard to differentiate if you aren't willing to differentiate. some people just don't want to understand that they're not the same. And so I've had situations where I signed a contract with a client and then was like, never mind, and just gave them their money back because my reputation is important to me.
Right.
And I don't like, all money is not good money. And I don't want to I'm not that publicist that's just like, okay, well, pay me. And then I'll like scoot you along until you start saying, well, this isn't me. No, I gave them their money back. And I was like, this is just not it. And then, of course it comes with the caveat of, well, you told me this and I want this, or, and I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, we're just going to wash our hands of this and keep going, because it is a process. It's a process. I've had clients who have done interviews at the top of the year that didn't come out for like 2 or 3 months because we're dealing with editorial calendars. We're dealing with breaking news. We're dealing with other type of news that take precedence. And so it's a process.
How does one know when they're ready for PR?
When you have done all that you can do on your own and you see the growth in what you've done, that's when it's time to research. Hey, let me see if I really need a publicist, because it could be that we have a conversation. I say, well, try this one step and then see if you come to me. But usually if you have grown your brand and your business, your organization to a point where, people are reaching out to you continually and you need to sort through those requests when you need a bigger scale because you've done all the local, and when you have a budget, because people, ignore that part. It's like, okay, I'm growing my brand. I'm doing all that I can do. I need a publicist. And then when you come to them and say, well, this is my rate every month, they're like, well, wait, what? Like, so, and you don't want to start the conversation with money, but money is important. It's an important part of your overall goals. And so once you feel like I need to do something different, I need to grow a little beyond where I am now, that's time to start looking into that conversation.
Got it. And what are some things that someone, like, let's say we're talking to a baby business. Me, I'm a baby business. We're talking to me.
Because we are talking to you.
Yeah. So, like, what would you suggest that, like, because I know that you have, like, all the connections, right? Because you're just connected like that, girl. So what can someone with, like, minimal connections do to sort of put themselves out there in that way on their own before they're ready for PR?
Networking. Networking is super important. Your mom can tell you that for this one situation that's happening right now. I saw the emails this morning. Yep. But, it's like you go to these events and sometimes people are like, well, why do I need to go here? Or, why I'm on this red carpet or I'm there. And it's like, because you never know who's in the room, right? And so you want to start building those connections on your own so you can start being recognized. So people can say, oh, Sydney, I remember you. And, I saw you. And so when you keep showing up in these places, that helps you to build your baby brand. And then when you start sharing your gift, of course, social media is a gift and a curse, right? I have this love-hate relationship right now with social media because it just takes the research out of everything. But anyway, but you share, like when you use social media for good, it's definitely a great resource. And so you do start showing up in places where you get your face out there, you start being recognized, and it's in your lane too. So like, I don't know if you're talking about for your art. However, like start doing, like art events. You see somebody having, I don't know, this is like this Atlanta stuff. Apache Cafe used to do some stuff, and like different little, places that do things, but just start showing up.
I love that.
It's so true. And what helps me, because I'm an introvert, this business has pushed me into being more of an extrovert, but I'm really an introvert. So what I love about you is that I can show up in these places, but you do most of the talking for me. That's what makes it so easy. It makes it so easy. So yeah, if you have the budget, I definitely recommend going
But
this
it's
route.
good though because I started again. I'm the starter, and you go in there. I'll be like, "Hey, this is Adrienne." You be like, "Well, let me
Yeah.
tell you." Like,
Yes, it's so great. It makes it so easy. I don't have to go up to people and then do like the code, the code call or whatever. It makes it
yes,
so I love it so much. And I think that's one thing that makes you a lot different than other publicists that I've come into contact with. What do you and I saw your quote and it lines up with that. Your favorite quote, which is something like the recipe may be the same, but it's all in the sauce. And
yeah.
I think that is so, so, so true. So I'm sure you've seen lots of other people in your space in different places. What do you think makes you different than most of them or a lot of them?
I think two things. I think because communication is my jam, right? Like I love
Mm-hmm.
communicating, so I really don't meet strangers.
Mm-hmm.
And I live big and I live loud, and so it's like before my hair, because my hair has been purple for a few years now. So now I'm like the publicist with the purple hair. But prior to that, I was like the loud publicist or the publicist with this big laugh because my laugh is so like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
big. But that's just my dad had a big laugh. And so I guess
Mm-hmm.
you just because I don't
Pass
know,
it
like
on.
the
Yeah.
laugh is just people be like, I heard your laugh around the corner. And so, I think those are things that are super important because
Mhm.
people want to be made comfortable.
Yeah.
People want to feel your energy. People want to feel
Yeah.
your vibe. I am very, very cognizant of my energy and energy in the room. And
Mm-hmm.
so while I have been around people with very bad energy, like I've learned to kind of excuse myself from that, or, you got to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm very, very aware of the energy that I give off and the energy that I bring. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's part of what makes me different is that
Yeah.
I'm very approachable.
Yeah.
I'm very real. I think it took a minute for people because in the South, it's different, right? And so when you have people like myself, I was aggressive. I was too loud. I was
Mm-hmm.
in your face, all these types of things. But then it's like once they got to know me, they're like, oh, that's just
It's
Adrienne. It's like
Adrian.
so. So I think those things help, and like having those qualities definitely helps.
I do think that's true, and I'm trying to compare you with my former publicist, and we've had her on the show too, and she's fantastic also in her own right, but she was more centered on print, right?
Mhm.
Print and social media contacts, where you're more, it's a or like at least with me, more with events and making introductions and personal connections. Is that just a different style that you see out in the space? Or I'm trying to tease that apart because it seems that I both were valuable, right? But it
Mhm.
seemed to me that at the beginning stage of my growth, that was what I needed then. But now, because I'm more about building my public brand, and this is what I need now. So I guess, how do you know? I know I'm asking a lot of random questions. I'm just
No,
going to
no,
run that.
I think I know where you're going, and I think of course, your business is going to align with your personality, right? And
Yeah.
so if you're more, and I use docile respectfully, right? But if you're more
Mhm.
like calm, laid back,
Yep.
your business and your process is going to reflect that. And so it's like I
Mhm.
think that you need to be a little aggressive, especially in this space, because so many people are in this space on both sides. There's so many
Yeah.
publicists, there's so many people who are entrepreneurs doing certain things. You know what I mean? And so you have to be a little in your face to
Yeah.
make sure that people are aware of you and your organization and your brand. And so I feel like those things align. So again, like if you're more of a laid back,
Mhm.
I'm not really going after these heavier, harder hitting things.
Yep.
That's just how you do it. And so for me, I go after
Exactly.
everything. Like I
Yeah.
don't I'm print, radio, digital, social media, events, red carpets, networking, phone calls, social media, emails, like pigeons, bird calls, like however I'm going to get it done, I'm going to get it done.
Right. When you were talking about how you were going to school and like you were beginning to study PR and you like to write, talk to me more about. We know that you have a book out. I'm wondering if you have other books out or other things that I should have been reading up until this point.
I do. I have several books that
I knew you keep this from me. I knew it. I felt it in your spirit.
So that's so funny. So my very first book was called Public Relations Ain't Free. And so I wrote that because, to my point, so many people don't know how PR works. And so it's a really short book with a lot of tips on, how to understand PR, what it is and how it works. And then I wrote a book on conflict because I'm certified in conflict resolution and conflict management. And so it's called Conflict Tips for the Modern World. And then my journal is Pitching Ain't Easy, which is a planner essentially. And so what I do also, like I told you, is I align with the awareness months and days. And so I created a journal that has all of the awareness days and months listed out in each month so that anybody that buys it can just go through this journal and align whatever their brand is with whatever national day of whatever it is, or national month of whatever it is. And then I have my children's books. I have Don't Touch My No-No Parts, which you are aware of. But then I also have one it's called My Parents Have a Drug Problem. Being from Baltimore, I write about these things, these children's things that people don't necessarily have conversations about, and that they aren't really programs that are aligned for children. So like with Don't Touch My No-No Parts, we know that pedophilia and, like essay of children is horrible and is prominent. And then with, because both my parents struggle with alcoholism and addiction. And so the programs are catered and geared towards the addict, right? They don't have programs for children who live with addicts, who are taking their game systems out of the house and they never come back, who are robbing their piggy banks, who live with no food in the house, or, that also is a cause of SA in children because there's so many like other addicts running through the house. And so you have children in the house, but there are no conversations to talk to the children about how this is wrong because it's normal, right? If you see something and it's normal for you, you don't know that it's not or abnormal. Because this is what you know. And so, so I've written for several things that, and it's so funny you say that because I definitely work harder for my clients than I do for myself. Yes. And it's like, I do these things, I wrote these things because I these are things that I'm passionate about as well. But at the same time, it's not because I'm looking for money from them for real. It's just that I'm passionate about it and wanted to share.
Adrienne, you need a publicist.
I know.
Like for real, because no one would know these things. Like I feel like I know you pretty well. I know we've only known just for a few months, but I would have no idea.
Yeah, no, I do. And so I have another one that's in the pipeline, but I am going to hire a publicist for this one because this one I feel like I want to do bigger with this book because of this situation that I'm in. And look, I'm going to tell you something else. Like all your listeners are going to find this out together because you don't know. I have custody of my 4-year-old granddaughter because my daughter is incarcerated.
Okay.
And so this is like becoming a parent again to a 4-year-old when my youngest child is 21. And actually, she wasn't even 4 at the time. So like my daughter's been incarcerated. She went in, so like 2021. So like when she turned herself in, my granddaughter was only like 1 or almost 2. And so it's like the year that she turned herself in, I was like, no more school buses, no more getting up in the morning, no more teacher parent conferences. I'm done. I'm good. My son graduated high school and then boom, I had a toddler.
God got you.
Yes. And so, so I think that that's a conversation that needs to be had also because I was raised by my grandparents.
Yeah.
Due to my parents' things. And so it's like you see these things that happen generationally,
Mhm.
and not many people talk about it outwardly.
Yep, it is an important topic, right? Sydney?
So, like, what is it like being a mom again in
I
a
know.
way?
It's
Like,
hard. It's I'm better now than I was.
mhm,
Definitely. I had to, so it was, you go through all of the emotions, right? The emotions of this is your decision,
mhm,
and high level, there's a choice, right? Like
Mhm.
everybody has a choice. Low level, core level, I didn't have a choice.
Mhm.
It's my granddaughter. Like,
Right.
no, I didn't have
Right.
a choice. But you have to accept the fact that you did have a choice, even though you feel like you didn't have a choice, right? And so, like, you're looking at the other people that are around you, like my husband, my son, and they help in their own way. However, like the way that people help you is not always necessarily the help that you need, or, like their helping isn't helping.
Mhm.
And so, like, you have to go through all of those emotions to like get to the other side of it. And so it was a struggle. It was definitely a struggle. I was like, I did my respectfully. I was like, let me do my old white woman Dallas and Falcon Crest and hire me a little nanny, but because again, generationally, like we ain't hire no nannies
Right.
or no big, like don't do that.
Right.
And so that worked for a minute. I had like some backup care, never someone full time
Mhm.
until my son's girlfriend moved in, which
Mm.
was amazing because I was like, listen, y'all together anyway. We have a spare room. Like you
Mhm.
can just move in. I'll pay you. I'll offset like the rent so
Mhm.
you can take care of Ava. And so that worked for a little while. I was good. It was like we had it going for about a year, but then, awesomely she got accepted into the Disney Dreamers program. And so
Oh,
she moved
wow.
to Florida. And so that I was like, oh.
Well, I'm so happy for you.
So now I'm back at square one again because she just left maybe like a month ago, 2 months ago. So now I'm back at it. So it's a process though. It's a process, and I laugh because by the time my daughter come up, she'll come home at 26. But by the time she comes home, but it's done.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that is good though. Like love her to death, love her to death. And well, Sydney, honestly, what I had to look at, I had an associate that told me that this was for Ava, right? And so it's like you had to look at it because my daughter was very standoffish. Me, opposite. So like if you took me and made the complete opposite of me, that's
Mm.
my daughter. Like so
mhm,
and Ava was very my daughter. Like she
Mhm.
would not smile in pictures too much. She was very standoffish with people. She didn't like new people.
Mhm.
And man, that first time I took her to the pediatrician after I was keeping her full time. No, second time. First time I took her was the first time that she and I had met. And so we had to catch up and change
Mhm.
roles and, all that other kind of stuff. The second time I took her, she was like, oh my God, this is a completely different child.
Wow.
He was like, this is a completely different child. Happy, talking, in
Mhm.
your face, her grandmama.
Yeah. So cute. Wow,
So
what a
yeah.
blessing. That is amazing. So what advice would you give to someone who is in your situation? There are a lot, like I was raised by my grandma also. I'm sure she did not intend for that to be the case, right? It was the case for me, just my mom and dad were just so busy and she
Mhm.
was free. So like, well, let's just get her in the basement and, and then we see you at graduation. So what advice would you give to someone who finds themselves in that situation where they have to start all over again?
Self-care is so important.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
You cannot lose yourself, and you can't live in the what ifs and the regrets and all of the other stuff. Like you just it's normal. We're human, right? So move past the feelings of all of the negative feelings because you're going to feel them
Mm-hmm.
because you're human and it's what happens.
Yeah.
And when you're overwhelmed, so Adrienne, you don't know this either. That's why I was in LA for so long. I ran away from home. Look, I'm telling all the
What?
secrets. Because I was like so.
biography.
I know, right? I know.
Got you.
But
Yeah.
I was so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I was just like, I need a minute. And I needed that minute to reset because people help. My husband helped. I told him he helped. I understand. I was like, but babe, it's not the help.
Right. Like you're trying,
And
but it's
so
not what I
it's
need.
like, because everything is me. You know, it's like if Ava has a doctor's appointment, it's me. If Ava gets sick at school and has to be picked up, it's me. If Ava's out of school, it's me. So, you know, it's like those are the things, and you all go about your day. You can go to work whenever you need to go to work. You can take a shower whenever you need to take a shower.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I just needed a minute to selfishly twofold, honestly. And I didn't think about it beforehand, but while I was there, I was like, this is for me to be able to reset and just not do anything while at the same time letting them see how it feels to do everything. And, you know, like day one, my husband called me. I was like, well, Ava's coughing a lot. What can I do? And so that's why I was like, and when people kept asking me, when are you coming back? When are you leaving LA? I was like, I don't know. I'll keep you posted. But you do, like, you definitely have to take time for yourself and again communicate when you are not happy, when you're feeling unwell, when you're feeling overwhelmed. You gotta say it, and you gotta take that time. And you know, luckily I was able to take some time, because even though we're laughing about it, not everyone has that option. Not everybody has that ability. And so it's like, if you are not able to run away from home for a week to another state, find a way, you know what I mean? Like, find a place in your house, find some time to just sit with yourself, to really like breathe through those feelings, and to really, you know, kind of like breathe in that self-care, because it is a lot. It's overwhelming. And to your point, Adria, for those of us who are of a certain age, who were raised by their grandparents, there were no conversations most of the time. There was no legal process. There was no, you know what I mean? It was just like, here, take this kid. And so, you know, we want to change that. We definitely want to change that. And so I did, you know, if you are able, because there are also times, you know, traumatic situations, you know, like the death of parents or incarceration of parents, you know, things of that nature that happen, and you don't have time to plan. But make sure that on the back end that you start doing those plans and get those things in order, so that there are no issues. So like I got actual legal guardianship of my granddaughter, because I want to make sure that those processes are in place. I don't want it to be any questions down the line or anything like that. And we'll take care of it when my daughter comes home. But right now, like, I am her legal guardian. And so, because a lot of times that doesn't happen, you got to make sure that you protect yourself and the child.
That's real talk right there.
Yeah.
Well, that's good stuff. I had no idea. I had no idea that you were running away from home. I had no idea you wrote all these books. I had no idea about your we have found out this is the purpose of the podcast right here. This is an open space. So let's just share. That's good. That's some really, really good advice there. And so true. And even just for moms in general, I mean, take your time, because it's the same thing that really applies, because like with my husband, and he's great, you know, but he doesn't get it. And like, I see the kids walk past him to me. Right? And he's like sleep or on the sofa, and they'll walk past him. Oh, I need $5 for this, or can you help me with my homework? Like, walk past, like he's a math major. You walk past him for help with your math homework, knowing I can't add, right? So yeah, I think it's important to put up those boundaries and to be transparent. And like to my husband's credit, I mean, when I talk to him and let him know when now I can't wait until I'm upset about it. But if I
Right.
communicate beforehand, like here's what I need, you help out with this, you help out with that, then he's more than willing to help. But either he's trying to help in the wrong way or he does not know that I need help in the first place.
Yeah. And so and to your point about that, my husband does laugh. We laugh, but it's my energy is I don't know. Like I sometimes I want to go to a medium just to see like who it is around me or whatever, what's going on. But young children, I'll say this just so you know what I'm talking about specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Our dog and Ava are super attached to me. Mm-hmm. They act a way with me that they don't act with other people. Mm-hmm. And so the dog is like, so just for instance, like if somebody comes in the house, like she might go crazy or do anything like that. If I come in the house, she's like, like all over the place, just and the third, or when we're in a car, she acts different. And so we used to get into it, not into it, but we used to get into it about that. He was like, I don't know why Brooklyn acts like that with you. I don't know. And so now with Ava, same thing. Grandma, 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 grandma. And when I ran away from home and we had this conversation, he was like, babe, I don't know. It's like, it's the same with Brooklyn. Like Ava acts with you the way Brooklyn acts with you. Like, I don't know why they act that way towards you. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, who are you? What are you doing? Like, and so it's like, it's obviously that I have like a good such a situation or a good thing around me. But it's like, man, y'all overwhelming me with the love. Like, I can't take all of it. Like I need you to love some other people.
Love somebody else on Tuesdays.
Yeah, so I don't know. So it's very interesting though, because it's definitely noticeable. Like it's noticeable. And we all are in this house. It was at one point my son and his girlfriend, my husband, the dog, and everybody knows that the dog and the granddaughter love me.
Well, I would tell you almost every time I text you, it was so funny. On yesterday, I was texting you about something and you were like, okay, it's like either you're about to walk the dog, you just finished walking the dog, or you are walking the dog.
It's the dog. Like,
this is dog. This dog goes outside. I'm fine. Yeah.
So yeah, but I think it's you have to. I don't know. It's so much more about me, Adria, that you don't know. Like, but I've had a life of experiences. Like I've done a lot of experiencing a lot of things, with the exception of drugs, because it didn't do that.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of life. Like I've lived a lot of life up to this point, and it took me a long time to get into this life and this space where I'm comfortable. And I think all of those experiences have come together just to get me to this place. Yeah. I wouldn't change any of it, good or bad, like, because they are like they made me. But there was a lot of bad to get to the good.
Yeah. That's inspiring for a girly in her 20s, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I listen.
But something I wanted to ask, because you mentioned how your granddaughter and your dog are to you. Do you ever feel like that's why you're such a successful PR agent, just because of your energy? Because I feel like, because I'm going to let you know, when I first met you, I was like, oh, she's just so like, you're just so open. You're so safe. And as someone who has a lot of social anxiety, I really find those moments special when I'm able to just like be open and be myself and feel safe around someone that I haven't met before. So I think it's just something truly about you and your energy, and not only is your laugh noticeable, but your big smile is. You're just very radiant. So it is something about you. It is.
Thank you. I get, I appreciate that, and I do and I say it. And some people I'm glad, like you said, this is a safe space, because if I said it to somebody else, they might be like, oh yeah. But it is like, I know that there is like a force around me that makes people comfortable, or that, like allows people to be them. I'm very cognizant and very aware of life, right? And a lot of people are not that. A lot of people are not willing and able to accept people for who they are and where they are and what they've been and who they've been. And because I have experienced so much stuff, like I think that I got a good dose of all sides of every coin to be able to say, oh, I can't judge you. And I'm going to allow you to be you. And, it's like, especially growing up with my grandmother, when my grandmothers and them raised me, they were well into their 60s, right? So I didn't get the love that I necessarily wanted. Like, I was taken care of, I was fed, we lived a good life, but I was watching stories. You know what I mean? Like, that was that's what I did. Like, I wasn't outside. I mean, I was outside playing with my friends sometimes, but I wasn't just like in it, like getting all these hugs and kisses every day and, doing all those things. It was like we sat and watched the stories. And if we wasn't watching the stories, we were all doing our own thing. And so I think that, and like I said, I know that I like to create a safe space for everybody. And so I did, like when we first met, it was cool how we were talking and laughing, and you were like, I love you, and I love you too. Like, it was so cool. Like, it's good. And so I want to, it definitely makes my heart smile to know that people are comfortable being themselves around me.
Yeah, I think that everybody has their own purpose, you know what I mean? And I think, like, I feel like, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like through your PR, through your books of sharing experiences and spreading knowledge in that way, that it seems like you really are living in this, even taking care of your granddaughter, living in this healing sort of purpose that we all need, especially as a Black community too, because us as a community, we face a lot of trauma. I think many of us haven't had enough hugs and I love yous throughout our childhood. So for you to be that person to anyone, to just like be open and show love and grace, and it's something that we really, really need in this world.
Oh yeah, I hugged the mess out of my kids. I did, like, and I did. So all the things that I didn't do as a child, like, I did them with my children. So I have 3. I don't know if Sydney do that, but my children are, my oldest son will be 30 this year. My daughter is 27, and my baby, she'll be 28, and my baby will be 22. And we did all the hugs, all the I love yous, all the kisses, pictures. Oh my God, I had so many. Like, I don't have a lot of pictures of myself, like growing up and all those types of things. But my kids, if I pull out a camera, they're like, oh my God, like, it's enough. Like, but I want them to have all the memories.
All right, we had a good conversation, but we do need to wrap it up. So,
I know, right? Like this
at some point. So, Adrienne, let us know where our listeners can find you online and offline and all that good stuff.
So my website is theipyagency.com. All of the books are on there, Adria. So my website, and then all of the books are also available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. On social media, I'm Promoting You and IPY Agency. Yes, so that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Adrienne.
Thank you for listening to Leaf Notes. If you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment below and let us know what your takeaway was. Or if you're listening, take a screenshot, post on social media with your takeaway. This will help us reach more small business owners just like yourself. If you would like to leave us a review, head over to your favorite podcast app and drop that 5-star rating. Your feedback helps others find our show. And until next time, we hope your business takes root and grows.